But today, predictions for the world of professional wrestling in 2023. We will start with returns. And the reason, Ash, why we're going to start with returns is because of today's news.
Right, who's returned?
Vincent Kennedy McMahon is back, baby.
For now, hopefully.
There's obviously so much new, and this is all really. It's been a wild 24 hours, really. It's moved very quickly, hasn't it?
Definitely. I kind of blame AEW for this because before AEW, the wrestling news was pretty slow.
It's essentially what's happened for those of you who may not be aware, but obviously, of course, Vince McMahon had retired last year.
Oh, you're doing it wrong. Vince had retired.
Well, I can throw air quotes up. This is audio. I mean...
Well, the way you say it.
Okay, sorry. Vince retired last year in 2022. Was that nasally enough for you?
I think so.
Amidst allegations, of course, of sexual harassment, amongst other things that are very unpleasant, and had to step down. Essentially, the investigations are still ongoing. It's not all finished yet.
Didn't they say one of them had dropped?
I know one of them had been dropped, but there's still a lot more.
Yeah,
and it come up because obviously, as part of the investigations, had seen all of this money that couldn't be accounted for, and long story short, it turns out that Vince McMahon was paying the hush money.
Yep.
So to speak to, I suppose, quote unquote, the victims.
Yeah. Whoever they may be, Countess Michelle.
Whoever they may be, but obviously that's not for us to know. But, obviously, don't want him back.
No.
Especially whilst it's all still going on. And there's two different sides of it. Again, we've done episodes where we've covered a lot of this before, so we won't go into all this now. But the product has been so much better without him on. Let's be honest. It really is.
It has, definitely.
It's so much fresher. Of course, Triple H. Everyone's crediting Triple H naturally because he took over as head of creative, but he's not the CEO. Of course, that's now a joint position being held by Stephanie and Nick Khan. But what's happened with Vince McMahon? One of my predictions, Ash, for the year was that Vince was going to come back this year.
What, win the Rumble?
And win the Rumble, yeah. Vince was. It was always going to be a prediction. I was going to bring this up today anyway, but I wasn't expecting it to happen so soon. But I do think this was always probably going to be on the cards.
Yeah.
I just thought that it would probably happen once all of the investigation stuff was finished.
Yeah, there's no way it was just going to be, even if he was cleared, that he was going to be gone for good. No way.
No. But I think what happened was, based on what he said, is that he feels he was given bad advice for him to step down from that position. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there. All I can say is that from a wrestling fan perspective, from my own perspective, I'm enjoying the product a lot more this past 5-6 months than I did probably for the past 5-6 years at least.
Definitely.
It's so much fresher. And it's an enjoyable... I mean, in our last episode, we named WWE... This is a very prestigious awards ceremony that we did for the end of 2022. We named WWE our Company of the Year. And it was because of a 5 months worth of having Triple H. That's how much good he's done.
Yeah.
And I think essentially the concern really over this is that Vince coming back, what are the implications of that? Does that mean we're going to lose everything now that's been built? It is a concern, it is a worry, but I don't know. I mean, reports show from how this all came about, Vince McMahon had written a letter, penned his letter. Essentially, it's to do with the media rights.
Has he not heard of emails?
Maybe not. Vincent Kennedy McMahon uses pen, brother. But it's to do with the media rights, and essentially because Vince McMahon is the majority shareholder of the company, he still obviously has the most sway. So although he's retired from the CEO position, from the chairman position, he still holds the most amount of stock in the company. So essentially his voice is still the loudest from a business aspect. But there's plenty of information already out there covered by journalists and things like that. So, go ahead and look into it in more detail there. But the long and short of it is that essentially Vince was almost holding WWE hostage, saying that he wasn't going to allow any kind of media deals to happen until he was reinstated as the executive, back onto the board as a...
I can't remember what it is now. Hang on.
I think it was it's an executive position.
Yeah, I think so.
But and he would also be bringing back a couple of people that I'm pretty sure he canned a few years back, and they would also need seats on the board. So
two other people come back.
Huge power play by Vince McMahon. So prediction number 1 for me has already come true, Ash. So I'm going to take that as a win.
Okay, fair enough.
But no, I don't know. Obviously, it's all still very fresh, and we still don't know what's going to happen, and we just got to wait and see. He said that he isn't going to get himself involved in anything that anyone else has already done at the moment.
We'll see about that.
But we'd have to see about that. Again, as he's got the loudest voice, it's...
Damn it! I want everything the same way it was before I left.
What's that Dexter Loomis doing here?
Who the hell is Sasha Banks go?
Who the hell is Uncle Howdy?
Oh,
I can't do it as good as yours. It's genuinely better than mine.
Yeah. Well,
I tried.
The thing is...
That's a lot of spikes.
I bet. You want my long arm t-shirt?
Sorry.
Long arm. Watch the unboxing video again. There's a story that a lot of people are going to probably leave WWE if Vince was to stay, which is probably like half the people that come back.
I mean, a lot of this is probably...
Who the hell let Tom Dollar back?
I don't know.
Where is Sean Strickland?
A lot of this is going to be hammed up. It's got to be, isn't it? You can't buy into all of the reports, but what we know is definite right now is that Vince is essentially, as of right now of recording, he is back. And he's on the board.
But is he better than ever?
Well, maybe he brings in Bischoff, who knows? Maybe now he really will inject the WWE with a lethal dose. Boy, I can't do it. My voice is shot.
Yeah, well, we're not going to do an hour of Vince.
Oh, you've just done loads of Vince impressions.
Yeah,
you didn't do the one that really works.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Look, I mean, the investigations are still going on. So even from a fan perspective, yes, I've enjoyed the product more without Vince being in the creative chair. But, at the same time also...
does that mean that on SmackDown later tonight, he's going to appear and go, I'm back! And I'm better than ever.
I just hope not. Just keep it away. I mean, but the thing is, like, yes, we've been joking about it, doing Vince impressions and stuff, but the reality of the situation is the guy is under investigation for sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Among other things. So, realistically, that's not a good image.
No.
What has happened because of it is that the stocks went up 10%. And it was because he had announced that he would be coming back to orchestrate the sale of WWE. So that is the big thing. That's the big thing. So before we go into all of the returns that we think are going to happen this year or debuts or whatever, which is going to be our main starting point for our predictions, we should really get this prediction out of the way with, is WWE going to be sold this year?
It's not going to be that. It's not going to be a quick sell.
That wouldn't be a quick sell, but I think there's a good chance it could be sold this year if that genuinely is what Vince wanted to do. The thing is, Vince could have just been saying that as part of his big power play. Because as soon as he mentioned sale, stock markets went up, boom. Now, we don't know what could happen with that yet because the stock market's closed 5 p.m. local time today. So we're not there yet.
No.
But when we are there... The whole thing could have changed again, and that this could be very quickly out of date. But will WWE sell this year? I think there's a good chance they will if Vince McMahon genuinely meant what he said, and he's going to have that power in the on the board. Because streaming companies are they're looking for, like a Netflix is looking for sports stuff.
Yes.
And you ain't going to get really much more lucrative than WWE because they can't take. I mean, in terms of English sports, they're not going to be able to take. Premier League,
no,
because BT and Sky are already tug of war in that. That's not going to go anywhere. F1's not going to leave Sky Sports. I mean, what realistically else could they take? I mean, you can't take Wimbledon off the TV, can you? Surely
that's BBC. So
yeah, well, But regardless, I don't know. What do you reckon? Do you reckon they sell or not?
It depends on the highest bidder. But I've got a feeling.
Would they actually sell? And what we're saying when we're saying sell.
Well, we've been heard that rumor for a long time about Disney.
Disney is a big one as well.
Which I could not believe if that was true or not.
When we're saying sell, by the way, the sell aspect of this is that they're selling essentially the library and the rights to show that on a different streaming platform, potentially other than Peacock.
The name on the contract does read Khan.
No, that's not going to happen.
No,
Disney's been thrown around a lot because, especially since the Fox deal with SmackDown.
But generally, I believe if there was a buyer, it'd be Saudi Arabian.
Do you know what? That's not actually a bad shout.
Because they buy everywhere. They bought everything lately.
Well, yeah.
They bought Ronaldo, they bought Newcastle, they bought...
Yeah, the fact that the amount they've paid for Ronaldo as well, unreal.
They have got stakes in UFC.
Yeah.
They've got stakes everywhere.
They've got hands in a lot of different pies at the moment. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, a year ago, the thought of selling WWE would be one of those like, oh yeah, maybe it's going to happen. It's built up more steam as time's gone on, but I don't think there's ever been a real sense of, oh my God, they're actually going to sell it. It's been more just sort of that rumour speculation and that kind of just general feeling that maybe that's what they will do. But to be honest, I think a lot of that sort of went out the window a bit more because with that big change around behind the scenes at WWE, it's become less of the talking point, whereas now it's back to the top again. So I don't know. I'm going to predict that, let's just say, it depends on Vince really and
it does.
Position
it's also,
part he's going to play in all this.
I just hope it's not like remember when he sold Raw to Trump and then bought it back the next week. I hope it's not like that.
I don't know. What, start bringing in the
guest host back.
Yeah.
The guest owners.
If I could turn back time.
God, that's like 15 years ago.
Well,
near enough anyway.
Let's be honest. I mean, the last few years in professional wrestling have been crazy anyway. We are living in this new... It's not like the Attitude Era that everybody wanted. It's its own thing. And genuinely, this has been such a crazy few years for so many different reasons. I mean, we've had wrestling through the pandemic. We've had AEW emerging on the scene and becoming a big player straight away, from the gates. All these different people going to and from companies and the Vince stuff. It's been mad.
It has.
It's been mad. So, in all honesty, anything really could happen this year. Boldest predictions. We're going to have our boldest. I'm going to play some safe.
Okay.
Some safe.
It is a safe bet. But...
Boldest. They're going to be so bold, these predictions. Ash returns. Vince is done. He's already back. He blew his load too soon before we had the chance to do this episode. But returns, Ash. Rumble's coming up.
It is.
Rumble's always going to be a big one for speculation.
My number one return at the Royal Rumble is going to be Kung Fu Noki.
Everybody, that's a bold prediction, but that's ridiculous. I'm thinking a lot more realistic with mine. I think a big surprise we're going to get in the Royal Rumble is Steve Blackman.
Oh, that's going too far, mate.
Steve Blackman. I've said this every single... How many years?
It's got to be close to about... Hang on. I want to say it's about 14, 15 years since we've been doing this.
Steve Blackman. Please. We're coming up to nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
No, it's not that... No, it definitely isn't that long. I reckon it was probably around about the time they did the 40-man Rumble.
It might have been. So then it was 2011.
So I think we're looking at about... I think it's about 11, 12 years.
Yeah,
I think it's about 11, 12 years. Even on Twitter, for any time someone's like, oh, who do you think this is going to be? Steve Blackman. I just put Steve Blackman. I'm absolutely convinced and determined to bring him back out into the world.
Yeah, even if it's like The Godfather in 2010... No, 2013. No, whatever one it was.
I wanted to have a Ken Shamrock moment, even if it's just an Impact or something. Bring back Steve Blackman. That's what I want, the lethal weapon.
But everyone's going to say, oh, Punk's going to return. But I don't care.
Well, let's go. Obviously, now speaking realistically,
What do you mean realistically?
Well, I was about Steve Blackman.
I was being realistic about Kung Fu Naki.
Kung Fu Naki's no. Can't call you a prick.
He's part of the company.
He is. Yeah, that's true.
We've had Jamie Noble come back last month.
That is also true. Yeah, I think though if we're going to be say even more, instead of realistic, we'll say safe. So if we're going to pick a safe. Well, actually, no, that's absolutely the wrong word.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about people that could be debuting / returning in the Rumble, CM Punk's name has been floating around. I'm going to be honest, my prediction-wise for that, I think that's not going to happen. I can't see that.
I don't care anymore. I just want him to go away.
I honestly want him to work things out with AEW. I think if they could do that, because he's going to be more of a benefit to AEW, should he be able to work things out with everybody. If he can't, then yeah, he needs to stay away, because he's always going to fall in trouble somewhere.
Yeah.
But again, it's not to say that was all his fault either. So it's just a tricky situation, as we've said before. But no, I don't see him showing up in the Rumble. I don't see that. No. I do see, obviously, Cody Rhodes looks like very, very likely for the Rumble.
Yeah, and the fact they keep promoting him on Raw.
It's gotten heavier as we get to Mania.
There is that. Another rumour was The Rock. The
Rock for the Rumble.
Yeah, to win it.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think it's a good prediction. But the trouble is with that is it's not so much would he want to do it. It's just can he do it, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's always going to be the case.
One of the busiest people in fucking the world.
He is one of the busiest people in the world, and I think it's going to be really tricky to be able to do.
Do you think he could own WWE? He's owned XFL.
That has been floating around.
He's got the money, unless Warner Brothers one is to sue him for the Black Adam thing.
That has been floating around, but no, I don't know. I don't think that
the only reason
he's already bought XFL.
Yeah, the only reason people think this is because they think, it's going to be because it's Hollywood Mania, and Roman's still a champion.
Nah, well, obviously, prediction-wise for that, we're saying about Roman and Rock. I think there's a very good chance that's going to happen at some point, but...
Right, the O2 Arena for Money in the Bank.
We'll get to that. But yeah, I think it looks as though it's going to be less likely now, I think, for Mania. I mean, we do still have a few months, so
it's a 2-day event as well, so...
Yeah, it could still happen. Yeah, but you're not going to it won't be like Austin's thing.
Well, if
they would build this as an actual. They would build this.
There is that rumor again that Austin's going to appear at Mania this year for a match, and there was videos of him doing workouts. So
Austin in the Rumble.
Why? If he does the Rumble, that means he's going to win, doesn't it? But then again, Edge returned at the Rumble, didn't win it.
Could Edge come back at the Rumble?
Well, the rumor was he was going to face Balor in the Hell in a Cell Rumble, but that's. You got 3 weeks for that build? I don't think so.
I think we'll go more in depth with our Rumble predictions for an actual Rumble.
We're getting
predictions video.
We're getting that Bray versus LA Knight match. So that's the only thing apart from Rumble that's been announced.
In terms of returns and debuts that we could see just in general throughout the year, though, so not just for Rumble, but. You got any more in mind that you think we might see as the year goes on? Because I've got one that I think potentially we could see this year, and I think it is Taker. I've got a feeling.
Well, Vince is back now, so
I've got a feeling in my bones that Taker is, and it is a tricky one for Taker because that Boneyard match was kind of like an awesome way to go.
Yes,
but it still feels weird that it wasn't in front of the crowd, but.
I think it will work better, though, not being in front of the crowd.
No, well, the match does, but the idea that it was Taker's last match, not being in front of a crowd, was weird. However, I did feel a lot better about it. Like it's my place to feel better about it, But like it made it kind of felt a lot more full circle once he had his Hall of Fame moment.
I think that was his proper...
That was the real... Goodbye. Yeah. I think because where it sort of didn't really sit as well for a little while was because like he did that match and then he kind of... he did that retirement at Survivor Series in 2020, and again it was in the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
So it just felt strange. So yeah, the Hall of Fame, I feel, but I don't know. I think if we're going to see something, this will be the year that if he does have one more, it'll be this year. The question is though, against who? This is all hypothetical now, but who would he go against? Because you'd feel like it'd have to be up against someone that he's not been against before. Or does he go AJ Styles again?
I don't know. He could do, because... But then again, AJ's broke his ankle, so he's probably going to be out for a while.
I'll be honest, I think if he were to come back for one more match, I think I'd want to see him with Rollins.
I was going to say Rollins, but I think Austin Theory be the one.
That would be, yeah, okay.
I don't want him back. It's the thing now. I was cool with Edge not coming back. I was cool with Ray not coming back, but
that was injuries though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's injuries as opposed to, yeah. I mean,
when you watch the last Raw documentary, how many times Taker said, "Oh, this would have been it. This would have been it."
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is, I do feel like it is it, and I feel like it is a very good ending to his career, and he's still got his health, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that I think if he does come back, if he does do one more match, it will be this year, because time obviously is ever marching on.
Yeah.
And although he might be feeling good now, age is still the factor, isn't it? So, if it's going to happen, I think it happens now. Do you think, though, Ash, we're going to see... Is there any danger of seeing Miro this year?
On what? TV?
On TV.
TV or just in general?
Just in on television, on the AEW product, on any bloody product. Is there any danger of seeing Miro?
I was surprised he didn't appear on Dynamite.
You're surprised he didn't appear on Dynamite?
Yeah, because they were talking about four matches last year. And I'm thinking, it'd be a great way of starting the new year by having... Fucking hell, they brought Brian Cage back and he's doing pretty decent things for himself. Why can't Miro do the same?
I just want Miro back. I want Miro.
Do you want Miro back or do you want Rusev back?
Well, CJ Perry did do an interview recently. I don't know who it was because I just read the quote from it. So again, it's...
Well, the WWE is better than AEW, right? Or...
No, it was... well, she didn't actually say that. She just said that whether he returns as Miro or Rusev, basically what you're just saying there, but whatever name he takes up, depending on where he goes. Because, and then she made the quote read that, because it was something along the lines of, let's face it, sooner or later everybody ends up back in WWE. Which is what she said, which is a really interesting comment, really, to make whilst he's still under contract with AEW. But I don't know. I just want to see him just do well. Like Miro's he's just awesome, right? And there's a lot of big guys in wrestling, but Miro is one of those that stands out, and that can be hard when you've got a lot of sort of a type of wrestler. But Miro is genuinely he's the guy. But, never really did get a fair shot against Brock. And that's kind of like how your big guys are measured over in WWE now, isn't it? Like, you're a big guy, but how big of a guy are you? Are you, do we see enough in you for you to headline a match with Brock Lesnar, basically? And look how long it took for Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, true.
Miro, I'd like to see him this year. I predict that we will see him somewhere, even if just in a vignette.
Yeah, it's all good doing vignettes, but let's see you wrestle.
I mean, yeah.
Are you the same with Andrade?
I'm going to be honest, I'm not overly bothered with Andrade.
I really like Andrade. I've been a fan from him the first time I saw him, which was... honestly, the first time I saw him was that match with Gargano at TakeOver.
And that's an absolute banger. Yeah, that really is a banger.
2018, not 2019.
I like Andrade's in-ring work.
Oh, 18, sorry.
I just think the problem with him is that in both... Even in NXT, he had good matches, but there wasn't much in the way of character.
It was Selena, really.
Selena was there to help, and that's obviously why she would have been put with him. On the main roster, nothing. He had those couple once Ray sort of came back full time, and he had a few bangers with Rey Mysterio.
And there was a really good run with Humberto, but it was just like that's what he did.
Then, of course, he got fed up, wanted to leave, got granted it, and he goes over to AEW. Poor debut. They've done nothing really with him of worth since he's arrived. He's constantly thrown into the Matt Hardy syndrome of let's pay so-and-so to do this, pay so-and-so to do that, hire this person, that person.
Well, MJF did the same thing.
It's but it's done in a different way. Like, MJF's gimmick isn't that he hires other people. MJF's gimmick is that he's a piece of shit. And that's why he's so...
people, but
yeah, but it's not... But his whole thing doesn't revolve around that. His whole... What makes up the MJF character, that is just a small part of it. What I'm saying is that Andrade's character is solely made up on the fact that he's got money and he pays for people.
Actually, isn't this year...
That's literally it.
Isn't this year the MJF contract runs out? Or is it next year?
It's the bidding war of 2024.
2024, right.
Come on, it rhymes. This is why he does it, for people like you, so you can remember it.
I don't remember.
But do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
That's, I would like to see something good happen with him, but I don't predict we're going to see much out of Andrade this year, no. I think at the moment it'll be all the same. And again, though, these predictions, because as the last literally 24 hours have shown, anything can happen. But let's see if we're right and if we're wrong. In terms, there's one more return. Well, there's two returns actually, but one is going to be unlikely this year. But people are still talking about Big E.
Yeah,
I think it's very unlikely. Obviously, we still don't know what his career is going to, what the future holds in his career. More importantly, obviously, it's just within his life. He seems to be doing well within himself, at least what he's putting out to for a public image. It'll be a massive shame, I think, if we never see Big E in the ring again. But at the same time, you just want to. He's got to be healthy.
It's just weird that he did a really bad broken neck, but he didn't need surgery.
No, but isn't it potentially that he needs it now?
I don't know. I'm not heard that much. It feels like he's been. The reason why he could be a Rumble surprise is that it's been quiet, and the quiet ones are usually the better ones. I
can't. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, honestly. One thing, though, in the same sort of vein in terms of injury, but obviously with Big E's, you knew how bad it was as soon as it happened, but obviously this was one of those where it sort of had to come out over time. But Adam Cole...
Yeah.
And that injury. Do we see Adam Cole return this year?
I'd like to think so, but...
Do we see him return and do anything of note?
Well, I was going to say, even though he is concussed, has concussion history, why can't they just do... Is it really bad that he can't remember doing promos? Can he cut promos? Like, just like, say, I'm still about, don't forget me?
Just don't know, do we? He's been off of television, not even mentioned.
Yeah, because Hangman, obviously, with the feud with
Moxley for the lariat, yeah,
and they're possibly having a match next week. But that's probably a different kind of concussion, because he didn't.
Well, absolutely, it is.
So Adam Cole, we don't know how long he was concussed for during that match, and that might have not helped. Like, you know how the Bret Hart situation, like he was concussed.
Yeah, and then he went and wrestled the next night.
Like hardcore matches and like all that kind of stuff.
Was it the next night he wrestled Goldberg again, didn't he?
Yeah, he wrestled Goldberg, and they did a screwy finish. Then he did a match with Terry Funk on Thunder and a hardcore match.
Yeah.
So
I think that was the last one, wasn't it? But yeah, I'd like to see Adam Cole back. I'd love to see Big E back. It's just but health has got to come first.
And don't forget about Kyle O'Reilly. Maybe that's what they think. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. Kyle
to bring them together.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they're not waiting for Bobby Fish, because they'll be waiting a long time.
Or Keith. Was it Keith?
Keith.
Yeah. Did you not see that? He was saying like he put on like I think Twitter or Instagram or whatever about I'm available for bookings. Ask for Keith or contact Keith, and then I think it's Trent Barretta went, "Who's Keith?"